So annoying when that happens. Just setting up for the stream to make sure everything's good to go. I know I started a few minutes early, but hey, why not, right? I think I got it now. There we go. My second screen has got chat going up so I can see what's going on there and some outside resources if I need it. All right, I don't know if anyone's in chat right now. Looks like we got maybe one person or two. Not entirely sure, but hey, if you're there, there's Clawpaw. How you doing, buddy? All right, so it's a rainy night over here. If you're looking at my screen down the bottom right, rain to stop soon. That's good. It's hitting up pretty hard. Nick Earl, hello. Nice to see you. I really like your content. No one else doing breakdowns like this. Yes, I've noticed that. Really, I'm grateful no one is, because now I have cornered the niche, the niche market here. So I've got quite an interesting take here, because no one really seems to be wanting to tackle CRs for monsters. So this has been a fun challenge, and it seems to be hopefully enlightening people. At least it seems that way anyways. Oh, that's great to hear, Clawpaw. I am doing really well as well. We had a great night tonight. We cooked up some frozen pizzas for dinner, and then we played 2 games of Clue with the family, which fortunately, unfortunately for the rest of my family, which was my wife and stepdaughter, I ended up winning both rounds of Clue. First one was, who was it? Dr. Orchid. It's the new version of Clue with a new character, Dr. Orchid, which is the pink token, and I don't remember who it was for that one, and the second one was Mr. Green. I ended up winning both of them, but just barely pulling off the win quicker than anyone else on the second game. It was a lot of fun. And we were also deciding between Clue or Pandemic, but I think Pandemic will have to play a little earlier on. So, yeah, had a good time. All right, if anyone has any recommendations, Nick, Clawpaw, or anyone else that might be there, I think right now we only got the 2 of you. I don't think it's counting me as well. I've got a whole list of extra monsters here to go through. This is next week's monsters, what you can look at to get ready for. I'm doing a version 2 of Arasta, doing the shorts for the Glabrazu and a fix. We've got the Wyvern, the Rakshasa, Arya, Yadha from the TPK Bestiary Volume 1. And let me just tell you, definitely was a TPK territory for this one. Also the Doppelganger Face Spider, which I think I got right. And then the Onkeg as well. So we got a bunch of monsters for next week for the shorts, as well as a tentative Monster Tactics shorts. I'm working out some stuff. I've been hinting at that in the Discord. So if you're not on Discord, there is a Discord, which would be awesome if you would all join up. Let's see here. Clawpaw is saying, no monster I'd really need right now, so go with your list. Okay. Yeah, I helped Clawpaw out with a couple monsters earlier on, some custom ones of his, which was fantastic. Very close. They were almost right spot on. Just a couple adjustments and they were good to go. All right, so let's see here. Yes, we have a Discord now, thanks to Population Growth's efforts. That's been set up, and he transferred ownership to me, so now we've got a nice big setup going on there with a couple bots and what have you, and some other interesting spots. So come on over. Discord will be linked in the description. It's not there right now, but I have to set that up so it starts getting in there. And then got some other things going on. So, for instance, got the calculation tool here, which we'll start using now. There's a Patreon for that if you want to join up and get yourself a version of this. Oh, the Gem Dragon Great Worm, Crow Zero is requesting from Fizzbands. Yes, I just got Fizzbands, so I can totally do the Great Worm Gem Dragon there. Anyone in particular, because there are a couple Gem Dragons. A girl boss building his empire. I'm trying to build something out of this. It's coming along slowly but surely. So let's see here. I think we were talking about the Gem Dragons. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Getting right into it. Let's see here. Fizzbands, where are you hiding? In the Fs, right? Perfect. So we got Fizzbands here. And then, Windows 10, why do you always do this? Come on, there we go, perfect. Shrink that up a little bit. All right, and then, let's see here, we've got a couple different Gem Dragons. So, Great worms. Let's see, what do we got? We have amethyst, crystal, emerald, sapphire, which I may have done already. No, I did the white. So sapphire and topaz. So let's see here. Any of the Drake guards. Okay, we can look at that next. So let me take a look here. Actually, let's do a quick poll. Great worm. Let's see here. Gem dragon. Gem dragon. Great worm. So let's see here. We've got amethyst. They'll probably all be the same, but crystal. And then let's see here. Gold, green, red, sapphire. Oh, I forgot emerald. I'll throw that in there. Can I add in? No, I can only do 4. So topaz is getting left off. All right, so you should see a poll come up, and you can vote on which gem dragon, hopefully. I don't know if it actually did it or not. While we're waiting on the vote to come in. Ah, there it is. While I'm waiting for the vote to come in on those 4, let me take a look at the Drake guard as well. Drake guards, or guard drakes. Amethyst, crystal, and Steven. Nice. What happened to my, something happened to my thing there. There we go. Looks like we're even split between the 3 of you. So the only one that's not picked was the amethyst. So let's see here. Amethyst, crystal, sapphire, emerald. All right. Random list generator. What was the most powerful dragon gem? I would propose that, and also the great worm gold dragon. Okay. Let's see here. Let me put my list down for a gem dragon, and then a guard drake. We'll find out the color in a minute, and then possibly even a gold great worm. Do a d6, 1, 2 is the first, etc. Yep. Okay. I'm going to do this off screen for the d6 roll here. So let's see here. Yeah, I'll do a 1d3. So 1d3. So 1 will be crystal, 2 will be sapphire, 3 will be emerald. And the pick was emerald. Okay. So we'll look at the emerald then. And the emerald, let's see where we got for the emerald great worm. That is page 26. So probably page 27. And that didn't come up right. No, that is way off. Do I? Pretty sure I have the right book here. Oh, I've CR. That's funny. Okay, 202. Gem Stalker. No, let's go back to 201. Gem Great Worm. Ah, yeah. Okay, it looks like. Let me check something else here. Sapphire. They might all be the same then. Yeah, it looks like they're all the same. We went through all that for nothing. Okay, let's see here. Right, I've got some green drakes in an upcoming session. Okay, so we'll do the green drake guard then. And gem dragon great worm. Okay, what else we got here? All right, or not just an idea. Okay, yes, the weed dragon. Indeed, the weed dragon. All right, so it looks like all the dragons work off of, all the gem dragons work off the same stat block here, except for, you know, maybe minor differences based off of whatever color they are. So we zoom in. Can I zoom in a little better? Yeah, that's about as good as it's going to get. I want to... Oh, wow. That went too fast. Okay, before I mess it up any further, let me stick with that there. All right, let's get into this Gem Dragon Great Worm here. So it looks like all of them are going to basically work off the same stat block here, so I don't really need to worry about any of the other ones. we'll see what happens as we go along here. But we're looking at the Gem Great Worms. They are gargantuan beasts with, let's see here, they should be CR 26. I'm guessing that's all of them from the looks of things. That's right. And they have 21 AC with 26 D20 hit dice with the following of 28 strength, 14 dex, 29 constitution, 30 intellect, 24 wisdom, and 25 charisma. After that, we next have, let's see here, 4 saving throws of dex, con, wisdom, and charisma. So we'll go ahead and throw that in for 3 to 4 saves there, giving the Gem Dragons, the Great Worms, a +2 AC bonus. After that, we have some skills. We don't care about those. Next, we look at damage immunities, and we see that we have Force for Amethyst, Necrotic for Topaz, Psychic for Emerald, Radiant for Crystal, or Thunder for Sapphire. So even though there's a whole bunch listed, obviously they are specific to the type, and we can totally ignore immunities because we only have 1 per Gem Dragon. So for the case of the Emerald, which we are technically looking at, the Emerald only has Psychic Defense. So we can skip over damage immunities, move on, and we see condition immunities. What's up, Carl? Oh, wait, I guess you can't see again, right? God darn it. Oh, I'm always doing that. Okay, that's the second time I've done that. Thank you. Going back to re-review, since I did this once more. Our Gem Dragon, 21 AC over here. Gargantuan, 26 hit dice, 3 to 4 saves, should be CR 26, with all the stats listed, because I forgot to switch the screen once again. 28 strength, 14 dex, 29 constitution, 30 intellect, 24 wisdom, and 25 charisma. Okay, so now back to looking at the damage immunities. Once again, we have 1 per each type of Gem Dragon, which they just listed here to save on space and what have you. And since there's only the 1, we'll skip over that. And we'll go right down into the Gem Awakening for the monster traits. So let's see what we have here. This is a once recharges on a short or long rest. If the Great Worm would be reduced to 0 hit points, its current hit point total instead resets to 400. And then it recharges its breath weapon. So this is mythic. This is the mythic abilities. And it regains any expected uses of legendary resistance. Additionally, the Great Worm can now use its mass telekinesis action during the next hour. Award a party an additional 90,000 XP for defeating the Great Worm after its Gem Awakening activates. All right, so we will look at this in 2 stages here because we've got ourselves a 2-stage dragon. Obviously, since it's a Great Worm. Yeah, exactly, Clawpaw. Totally forgot about switching the screen once again. I gotta remember to do that when I'm talking to switch the screen. All right, so then we will look at the Gem Awakening after the fact, because first we're going to look at its base stats, and then we'll come back to the Awakening or Mythic phase. So we have legendary resistances of 4 uses. So we'll go ahead and swap in 4 uses of that, giving us an additional 120 hit points, as we can see here. And then after that, we have Unusual Nature. The Great Worm doesn't require food or drink, and we don't have to worry about that because there's no effect on the CR. So now we have, let's see here, a whole bunch of actions, bonus actions, and legendary actions. Plus we'll have the Gem Awakening, which is just after the fact, giving us the breath weapon and everything. Okay, so we have our multi-attack here. The Great Worm can make 1 bite and 2 claw attacks. And with that, the bite and the claw attack have a +17 to hit, which we can add into the attack, or the offensive section here for the attack bonus. And that should be coming from a +8 proficiency. And then an additional, looks like +9. So that works out. We have a +17 to hit. And then we can start working out our damage here. So for the bite, we have 2d10 plus 9. So 2d10 plus 9 from the strength, giving us a total output of 20 points of damage here, which is correct. This is what we have. And an additional 16 force damage coming from 3d10. So we'll go ahead and pop that in, and that gives us 16.5. And then attack number 1 will simply be a total of 36.5. All right. So that is our bite. The total damage is 36 there. Moving down, we have the claw attack. And this will be, let's see here, 18 from 2d8 plus 9. So we'll go ahead and do that. 2d8 there, plus the strength bonus, giving us a total of 18 even. And then we have to make a grapple check. And targets restrained. The Great Worm can have only one creature grappled in this way at a time. So we'll go ahead and for attack number 2, we'll put the 18 in there. And then since we will be doing one creature grappled at all times, we'll go ahead and add in the constrict ability on the monster traits, giving the Great Worm, Gem Great Worm, and a +1 effective AC bonus. And then lastly for, let's see here, the main attacks, we have breath weapons, which recharge on a 5 or 6, so we should only see this once every 3 rounds of combat. And the Great Worm exhales crushing force in a 300-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a 25 dex save. Failed saves take 71 points of damage and are knocked prone. So we will go ahead and just double check that. So that's 11 d12, giving us 71.5 damage. So our third attack here, the breath weapon, we are expecting to hit at least 2 targets. We were hoping for 2 fails, and we can do any kind of combination of the 2 fails. With that, more than likely you can easily get 2 or more targets in there. But for the sake and purpose of doing calculations, you always only factor in 2. So we'll go ahead and take the 71.5 and multiply it times 2, and we should see roughly, on average, 143 points of damage from this Gem Great Worm here. And then we have a multi-attack to work out, which is the 1 bite and 2 claw attacks. So we'll have 1 bite plus 2 claws. And we're not really worried about the prone from the... no, was there a prone? No, never mind. I'll cut that out later. I thought there was a prone in here for some reason. And it looks like our multi-attack is reaching 72.5 points of damage, which is great. So let's take a look. What else do we have for actions here? Well, we have Mass Telekinesis during the Gem Awakening, or Mythics as they're also known. And what does this do? The Great Worm targets any number of creatures and objects it can see within 120 feet. Yada yada yada. Makes a strength save. And be restrained in the Great Worm's telekinetic grip. At the end of the creature's turn, it can repeat the saving throw. And then at the end of the Great Worm's turn, it can move each creature or object it has gripped up to 60 feet in any direction, especially up, but not beyond 120 feet. In addition, it can choose any number of creatures restrained in this way to deal 45 force damage to each of them. All right, so because we don't have lair actions for this, we're going to use lair action number 1 for the Mass Telekinesis. And we'll work that out first. So each creature will be dealing... let's see here, or be dealt 7d12 damage. So that gives us 45.5, and we'll multiply that for at least 2 targets, minimum, giving us a total of 91 damage for this Mass Telekinesis, which is great. We could also potentially factor in 60 feet of fall damage as well, possibly, because you just grab them, lift them up 60 feet, or even 120 feet, and get that fall damage in also. And that's what, 1d6 for every 10 feet. So we're looking at 6 to 12 d6 fall damage, possibly. Yeah, 1d6 for every feet. So we could potentially add in upwards of 21 points of damage per target as well. So if we want to add in that fall damage for calculations later on, we'll go ahead and take the 21, multiply that by 2 targets, and we'll see we'll also potentially get an extra 42 points of fall damage. And then, as a bonus action, hold on. We have Spellcasting, Psionics, and we've got Dispel Magic, Force Cage, Plane Shift, Reverse Gravity, and Time Stop. Why did it have to have Time Stop? Oh, no. Okay. Time Stop is tricky. So, let's see here. Would I even want to use Time Stop? Sure, probably for the Dispel Magic, once each. Let's not worry about the spell casting for now. We'll come back to this in a few minutes and see what happens. Because I'm sure base alone, without the spell casting, this is going to be probably even rated or higher. So let's take a look at the bonus actions, and we'll come back to the spell casting if we need to. And for the first bonus action, we have Change Shape. The Great Worm magically transforms into any creature that is medium or small, while retaining its game statistics. other than its size. This transformation ends if the Great Worm is reduced to 0 hit points or uses a bonus action to end it. So here's the thing about change shape. It's not like player druids. When the dragon changes its shape to be humanoid or a beast or something, it still keeps the same hit points and damage. Why not to what, Crow Zero? Totally missed your question when that came through. So change shape, while helpful, isn't going to be really that great in combat. I mean, it should be doing all of its damage as a dragon, so it'd probably be flying around as a or not flying around, it'd probably be walking around as a human to disguise itself for the time being. So for the time being, I'm going to suggest that change shape has no effect, and we can skip over that for the moment. Although we do have Psychic Step here. The Great Worm magically teleports to an unoccupied space it can see within 60 feet. And I believe that's similar to the level 2 spell. Was that Misty Step, is it? Dimension Door? I can never remember what spells come when. I don't want to spend too much time looking for this spell. Oh, Misty Step, there it is. Okay, and that's 13 effective feet, or 13 effective DPR. So, if anything, I would say Psychic Step is similar to Misty Step, and we can add that in as a bonus action, which is going to be even more helpful for the Gem Dragon to get around. So, I'm going to say let's come over here and add in the 13 effective DPR, which I still need to update after finding all that extra information. And we will start looking at some other things here. All right, now let's finish up with the legendary action. We have the Great Worm can make 1 claw attack, and we could do that upwards of 3 times. So we'll take the claw attack and multiply that by 3. Okay. I was saying it in relation to what you said about why I had to have... Oh, why I had to have a time stop. Why did I complain or make that long drawn out thing about time stop? It goes back to when I looked at the Archmage the first time, and way back before effective DPR, when I came up with that whole number for like 111 for time stop, because time stop doesn't deal direct damage, it just stops the game for an average of 3 rounds, and then whoever casts time stop can do 3 extra rounds on average. So the other thing would be, okay, what do we do during that time? We have upwards of 3 extra rounds to do something with, so we need to add that calculation into the dragon's potential damage and whatnot. And since you can only do things that don't affect other people, we would really only be looking at maybe changing the shape, dispelling magic, possibly force cage, plane shift out, or plane shift in, and then reverse gravity. Although you can't do anything that directly affects people. So force cage and reverse gravity may be out. And also dispel magic. I'd have to look again at time stop just to make sure. So that's why I gave that whole drawn out sigh about time stop. It makes it even that much harder to figure out the CR. Okay, so continuing back with the legendary actions, we've got our claw, and we get upwards of 54 average damage for each use of it, since we have 3 legendary actions. The next thing we can do is psionics. The Great Worm uses Psychic Step or Spellcasting. Okay, so we could potentially do 13 effective DPR, or we could do some kind of spell here. For the time being, I'm going to leave that as a blank. I'm not sure how I want to do the psionics because of what I had said about time stop and the other spells, but we only get 1 each, so more than likely the spells may end up running out pretty quick, and we were just left with the Psychic Step. Depends on how the first few rounds of combat go and what I might think of using. So for now, I'm going to say just leave the second one blank for calculating and come back to that at a later time. And after that, we have Psychic Beam. The Great Worm emits a beam of psychic energy in a 90-foot line that is 10 feet wide. Each creature must make an intellect save or take 27 psychic damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful. All right, so I've run out of calculation room up here, so we'll just simply take 27.5 and multiply that by 2 targets. So surprisingly enough, Psychic Beam actually gives us a little bit more damage than the 3 claw attacks by 1 point, but we may end up with more effective damage from the psionics here. It's hard to say at the time, right now, off the top of my head. But without calculating in spells, excuse me, let's see what we're looking at for just the dragon on its own before we get into its gem awakening here. So for the first round, I would definitely say, first thing, use the breath weapon. Get that out of the way, try and do as much damage as possible. And on top of that, no, let's not multiply it. We can then add in the Psychic Beam, since the Psychic Beam does a little bit more damage than the Claw, although we could use the Claw if need be. So we're looking at 198 points of damage there. Then we would simply do our multi-attack and the Psychic Beam again for rounds 2 and 3. And sure enough, base, without using any spell casting or going into its gem awakening, we have ourselves a CR 26. So that means all of our gem dragons are exactly CR 26. And I believe the same goes for all of the chromatic great worms as well, and more than likely the metallic great worms also. I believe it's just a carbon copy of each with slightly different variances, as we saw in the damage immunities. So now the question is, how do we calculate the gem awakening? Because we've dealt the dragon a whole bunch of damage, got rid of its effective 627 effective hit points with everything going on here. What do we do next? Well, next we go back to the gem awakening, and we need to get the hit points down as close to 400 as possible. So for that, we would then say, okay, let's reduce the hit dice from 26 to maybe 22 or 20, so we can get as close to 400 as possible, which we would see right here. So we'll try 22, that's 429, okay, let's try 20. That's 390, so let's go back to 21. And that's perfect. We've got 409 points, or 409 hit points, which gets us as close to the next round, round 2 of the Gem Awakening here. After that, the breath weapon recharges, so we can do the breath weapon again. Let me clear out all my rounds of combat here. And then it regains all of its legendary resistances, so make sure you use all 4 of those legendary resistances before the Gem Awakening happens, because now you can get 8, you can get another 4, giving you a total of 8 legendary resistances, which is bonkers when you really think about it. And then we also have the use of the mass telekinesis action during the next hour. So, what would we do for this, for round 2 of the Gem Awakening here? Just from raw damage, I would say start off with the breath weapon again. So we would go ahead and, oops, let's not do that. Raw damage wise, we're going to start with the breath weapon, and then we would go into the psychic beam. So round 4, or whatever round this is, starting the Gem Awakening, we would do the same thing again. And then after that, we would probably do the mass telekinesis, because we can do that once. And I would say, okay, smart thing would be to, let's see here, use this ability, lift up the players as high as they can go, and then also do the crush, right? So we're looking at 133, plus we can also still do the legendary action there. And then on round 3, you can let go of the mass telekinesis. So then we would let go of the mass telekinesis because we lifted all of our targets up 60 feet, drop them that 60 feet. I just want to double check. I want to make sure I didn't. Oh, did I? No, I did add that in. Anyways. Whatever. Round 3, yeah, all right, let me fix that. So round 2 would be mass telekinesis and crushing, as well as the legendary action. Then round 3, we would drop them, do a multi-attack, and do the legendary action number 3 again for the force beam. So it looks like, without spell casting, and not taking into account the psychic step, although if we do add in the psychic steps, let's see here. If we, oh, I hate it when I do that. Let's see what happens here. Just really brief if we're using the bonus action to Psychic Step as well. Yeah, that's where it is. Okay. And more than likely... Okay, so it's weird. Psychic Step, if we use the effective DPR, we get a CR 26 for its Gem Awakening. And what's funny is if we go back all the way to the original here, let me bring us back to the CR 26. Okay, everything looks good here. If we add in the Psychic Step here as well, for before the Gem Awakening, we'll probably see a CR 27. Oops. Let's do this real quick here. Come on. Oh, come on now. There we go. Hit the plus button. Yeah, okay. So Psychic Step is strange. It doesn't seem to work exactly well. If we count in Psychic Step to the CRs, we initially have a 27 before Gem Awakening, and then we have a 26. But if we average out the two CRs, then we technically have a 27 Gem Dragon, Gem Great Worm. I don't know. I'll get to you in a minute, Crow Zero. Sorry, I just want to finish my thought here. And then afterwards, if we don't count in Psychic Step, the Gem Awakening is technically less. But if we average out those two CRs, we still have a CR 26, technically 25.5. So it's a little weird. It's floating around CR 26, and if we use the spell casting, it's going to jack the Gem Dragon up even higher. All right, Crow Zero. Let me see here. By the way, which do you think is more powerful, the aspect of Bahamut or Tiamat? They're both just as powerful. When I did the shorts for both of them, I got CR 30s. Across the board, no problem. I didn't even have to modify anything except for maybe the attacks. Like, Bahamut is more defensive and Tiamat is more offensive. So even then, they are basically counterbalancing each other. They're very yin-yang when you look at them that way. I'd have to look at the final values again, but it was really wild seeing how it worked out, because especially once they went into their mythic phase and they could do, Bahamut could do a ton of healing, could do so much more healing, and then Tiamat did so much more damage. It was crazy. So they really balanced each other out, and they would probably just be at odds with each other, Crow Zero. So depends on what you need. If we want raw power, as you've suggested here, Tiamat would be more powerful. But because of the defenses here, Bahamut can defend Tiamat easier, and I think with that healing, he can keep right up with her. So they are pretty much evenly matched, it seems. So, final thoughts on our Gem Dragon here. If you don't use any of the spell casting, it's even rated. For any of the Gem Great Worms, all of them are evenly rated. Their Gem Awakening seems to be a little lackluster. I would say they need 500 hit points, and then they'll be even right across the board without question. And the other problem could be, how does Psychic Step factor in? Because they can move only 60 feet. So the effective DPR for Psychic Step seems to throw it off a little bit. But for the time being, it seems like they are pretty much good to go here. Let me take a quick note, and we'll move on to the guard drakes. Let's see here. That was 28, 25. Oh, wait. 28, 24, and 26. All right. All right. It's 28, 24, 26. Oh, 26. 28, 24, 26. Even both appear, both CRs appear to be correct, although spell casting could possibly throw the CR even higher. I'll find out more when I really give it a good look for the shorts, And luckily, I'll be able to just do this for all of them in one shot, thankfully. So I'll have like a group picture for the gem dragons. All right, let's see here. Nick, you wanted the green drakes. Let's take a look at that. Crow Zero, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the requests and the questions. It was a pleasure having you here. Have a good night or good morning, because I believe it's rather early for you right now. And thanks for stopping by again. Have a good night or good morning. All right, so let's get ourselves a green guard drake. Let's see here. Green guard drake, VGM on page 158. Okay. Volo's guide. Oop, let's see here. So that should be 159. Guard drakes, perfect. All right, so it looks like we have our templates, yeah. All right, so works out perfectly. Let's see what we have. The green guard drake is amphibious. It can breathe air and water. Has a swim speed and resistance to poison. All right, so it looks like we will just take a look at the guard drake, and then it'll be very similar to what we just did with the gem dragons. All right, reset the tool. And we have the guard drake, a medium dragon from Volo's, which should be a CR2. And let's see here, we got 14 AC, medium as I stated, 78 hit dice with 16 strength, 11 dex, 16 con, 4 intellect, 10 wisdom, and 7 charisma. After that, we have nothing important going on in the skills area, and we have nothing important going on in the monster traits area. We do have a whole bunch of additional things going on here for the variants of the guard drakes, and it looks like the only real difference is that they get different resistances. And as we saw in the previous video with the gem dragons, we could have had that written out here to make this a little easier to read. But each of the drakes does something a little different for movement as well. So the red drake has a climbing speed, the green drake has amphibious, as we stated before, and a swim speed and so on. So there's nothing really that we have to worry about here, thankfully, and we can just move right into the actions. And for our actions, we have 2 attacks, one with its bite and one with its tail. And both of these are +5s to hit. So we'll go ahead and swap that attack bonus to a +5. And then we will see, let's see, CR2s are expected to have a proficiency bonus of 2. And they also have the +3 modifier, so the +5 is correct. And then we just have simply a 1d8 +3 for 7.5 points of damage. So I'll just go ahead and do that up here. Plus the strength, so we have 7.5. And the tail will deal 1d6 plus strength for a total of 6.5 average damage. So to save a little bit of time, I will just go ahead and do the multi-attack of 1 each for the bite and the tail, I believe it was. Yes, for a total of 14 points of damage. And then we will just multiply our multi-attack times 3 for 3 rounds of combat, because that's pretty much all it's going to do every round of combat. Okay, so it looks like our guard drakes are overrated. And I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something here. So let's read the variant stuff. Each type of chromatic dragon scales and blood creates a guard drake that resembles a wingless, stunted version of the type of dragon with unique abilities related to that type. Okay, and particularly Nick wanted to see the green. The green drake is amphibious, like I said before, swimming speed of 30 and resistance to poison. Okay, I have a sneaking suspicion that if I put in resistance here, we might have a CR2. Oh no, we have a CR3. Okay, so they didn't use resistance, but for some reason they calculated this as a CR2. Okay, let me double check here. I've got 14 AC, 52 hit dice, or 52 hit points. Everything else is right. Damage is right. So this is an overrated guard drake, actually. It's a good thing you had me take a look at this, Nick. This is technically a CR1 that should only be awarding 200 XP. So what could we do in order to make this a little more dangerous and a better guard? Well, the guard denotes being able to hit a lot of, taking a lot of damage. Let's see here. A guard drake is a reptilian creature created out of the dragon. Oh yeah, I read all that. Watch beast and can follow simple commands. Let's see. When trained properly, gift from the dragons, which will create a guard drake. Blah blah blah. All right, I don't care about that. What happens if we up the natural AC from 14 to 16? Well, actually, we don't even really need to go that high because we have a 14. It's expecting 13. So if we just up this by 1 and say 15, let's see what we have next. Okay. That's a quick way to fix the guard drake, Nick. If you make it a 15 AC, then the DCR moves up from a 1/2 to a 1. And then we end up with a 2. Technically, it would be a 1.5 CR, but then we would just round up to 2. So the +1 AC to its natural armor would help fix this to get it to a CR2 as it's suggested here. If we wanted to instead maybe do more damage, let's see if we add in one more, add in one more tail attack for the heck of it. So let's go ahead and add in another G4 here. And let's see where that goes. Okay. So we have two options. The really quick way is say the guard drakes all have AC 15. Makes them a little harder to hit, but more than likely they'll still be hit. 14 and 15 are not that much different. If we want to keep the AC the way it is and make them deadlier and still get that CR2, we add in an extra tail attack. So we could do a bite and 2 tail attacks, or we could do +1 AC. Whatever you would like to do, Nick. Either of those will work. All right, so let me reset this. I'll take my notes. And the guard drakes are fixed as far as I'm concerned, but overrated, sadly. All right, and that was CR2. Guard drakes, all of them. All right. And it was 1/2, 2, found 1, overrated. Oh, Clorox, there you are. Clorox 3, Return of the Bleach. That's a great name, love it. Quick fix, let's see here. +1 AC or +1 tail attack. Depending on how you want to do it. Clorox asks, have you gone over an Asmodeus stat block yet by chance? There isn't an official one yet, but I'm aware of 2 solid third-party ones if you'd be interested. No, I haven't looked at Asmodeus. If it's not an official book or anyone has linked or sent me any kind of stat block info, I haven't looked at it yet. So if you want, you can send it to my email address there, Clorox, and we can I can take a look at that at some point. It is 8bitmonsters@gmail.com. You can email me any like third-party stuff there, or let me know where and what book it might be in, or you can join the Discord. And I know you're on the Discord, Clorox, but I'm suggesting for other people, throw those recommendations in the Discord too, and I can add them to my list there. Black Hole of Knowledge. Hello, thank you for joining. It's been a pleasure to meet you. Good evening. Just found your channel a couple days ago. Any suggestions? Which one of your videos to get a breakdown of these acronyms, DCR, OCR, and some others? Well, the acronyms and the terms are all listed in the description of every video. So I have a list of my terms there, Black Hole of Knowledge. Beyond that, if you're looking for a great place to start, go to the DMG, the Dungeons Master's Guide, on page 275 to 289 for custom monster, creating custom monsters. That will give you like 80% of the knowledge that you need to know and where I started from here. The last like 20% comes just from time working with it and figuring out some of the missing stuff, a lot of the missing stuff that's there. But the description will help you with any of my terms, and the DMG will help you out with getting started and how I do all of this. Okay, thanks, Clorox. Also, if you know which book it is, I might have it, because I do have a whole bunch of extra books here, like Total Party Kill, Creature Codex, and a couple others. Keith Picote, I hope I said that right. Picote, thank you for joining. It's excellent to see you here. I'm grateful that I got some more people on the live stream. Let's see here. What did Keith say? I only recently found your shorts on YouTube, but I like them down dirty breakdowns. I like the down dirty breakdowns that you do. Thank you for all your work you do. Thank you. You are very welcome. I'm glad a whole bunch of extra people are finding the channel. I noticed we've gained like, I think 70 subscribers in the last few days. It's been pretty wild how suddenly how fast the channel grew over the last couple days, which is excellent. Seems like a few of the other channels that I am friendly with have also been hitting big strides, like thousands of subscribers, which is pretty crazy. Like Pack Tactics, he gained a whole load of people. And then I think the Winter Wyvern, I've just started watching his channel. He got like 1,000 subscribers in a couple days as well. Pretty nuts. Thank you for joining, Keith, and commenting on the live stream and joining me here. Let's see here. The next recommendation was for the Gold Great Worm. More than likely, the Gold Great Worm is probably going to be the same, but we can take a look at it and see what happens here. Gold Great Worm. That is what page? Page 208 in Fizzbands. So let's go to 209. Oh, metallics. Yep, perfect. All right, and we'll start working through the Gold Great Worm here. Unless anyone else has a different suggestion, because more than likely this will be pretty much identical to the gem dragons we just looked at a little bit ago. Give me a moment. My cat is scratching at the door. Pumpkin. Loki, what do you two want? You want to come in? Come on, Loki. You want to come in? No? All right. Pumpkin. All right. Well then, let's see here. We have the gold gem dragon, or excuse me, the gold gem dragon. The metallic great worms, or the gold great worm. Oh, it's Loki. Come on, man. Let's see. Pumpkin, do you want to go outside? All right, cool. Go outside, buddy. Enjoy the outdoors. It just stopped raining. All right, let's see here. Black hole, let's see. Yes, I don't really aim for anything in particular. I just do whatever comes up. I have a list of, let's see here. Let me go back to the list. This list here is all the ones that come through the through requests and submissions. So I have a form. I have a Google form in the description of every video where you can officially request a video, or if you're here on the live stream, I will do those as well and take a look at them. So I have my live stream list here. I also take requests from people on TikTok because I upload all my videos to YouTube first and then I upload them to TikTok. So I watch for anyone that makes requests. So there's really no theme except for when new books come out. A couple weeks ago when Fizzbands came out, I did a whole week of just gem dragons and the likes to give a general idea of what was going on. And Bahamut and Tiamat were fun. But yeah, nothing in particular, just whatever comes up, random, that's cool. And Clawpaw, yes, the cats, it's a classic. Like I have 7 cats and all of them, it's bonkers what's going on here, but one of them goes in and out all day long, and he gets like cabin fever if he doesn't get to go out every couple times. Keith, have I done the roper? They seem a little OP. Yes, I have done the roper. Let's go here. I think the roper just came out last week, a couple days ago, but yeah, you should see it at one of the top videos for the channel. It worked out. It was even rated. Yeah, I have a lot of cats. I love my cats. Some of them were surprises. Like we had 5 at one point, and then a friend of my wife's was like, "Hey, we've got 2 random kittens here, and we really need someone to take them in. Can you take them in?" We're like, "Yeah, we've got too many as it is now," but we ended up taking them in, and it was a bit of a fiasco. But here's the roper. I do have it. I don't want to ruin it for you. Go ahead and check it out. You'll see like at the end of the quick shorts, what my thoughts are for the roper. But I did do it. It was a fun one. All right, let's see here. The metallic great worm. Let's take a look at these. We'll probably end up finishing off the night here with this, because I usually only stream for about an hour because it's getting on 11 o'clock here. But let's see what we end up with. Have I done the Oni? Yes, the Oni I have also done. The Oni is, let's see here. I think I have one of each. Yeah, actually I have 3 versions of the Oni. The top version here is really old. This is when I did it like over a year ago or so. So this is the old one. This is the live stream, and this was the result of the live stream. So if you want to do them in order, look for the one that says CR7 question mark, and then the exposed live stream, and then the shorts version. The shorts will give you my final thoughts on the Oni. All right, so then let's see here. For the metallic great worm, sounds like I'll need to get looking at your backlog. Thanks again. You're very welcome, Black Hole of Knowledge. Thank you so much for stopping in and chatting and whatnot. I appreciate it. There are a lot. I have over 250 shorts now, and not nearly as many live stream recaps and other video types. And I'm actually looking into some new videos too. So if you're curious as to what I'm working on, join the Discord, and you can get some sneak peek information there as I talk and chat with people in the Discord. Let me see here. I don't have the Discord up because I didn't want pop-ups distracting me. I'll start having the Discord links in the description, and there's a community post from a couple days ago for the Discord. All right, let's look at this. New videos. Yes, Clawpaw. The battle tactics, the CR comparison videos, which you're going to try and do as shorts, and even the one using themes. What was it? Like, we were talking on Discord about ogre liches and then using the lich as a theme to overlay and working out like, oh, if we take everything from a lich and put it on top of an ogre, how does the ogre CR get modified? So I'm trying to figure out how that could overall increase the CR of like an ogre if we turned an ogre into a lich. So a few different types of videos there. All right. Gold, well, metallic great worm, gold. Let's just start with that. CR28. What do we got next? So it's a CR28, 22 natural AC with a gargantuan metallic dragon. And then it has 29 hit dice coming from 30 strength, 16 dex, 29 constitution, 21 intellect, 22 wisdom, and 30 charisma. After that, we then move into the skills area. We have 3 saving throws of dex, con, intellect, and charisma. So we'll go ahead and pop over here and add that in for a +2 effective AC bonus. Thanks, Clawpaw. And then next we have some skills. Those don't matter. We have damage immunities, but only 1 per dragon, just like the gem dragon. So we have acid for copper, cold for silver, fire for brass and gold, and lightning for bronze. After that, we have condition immunities. We're going to skip that because those don't matter for the CR purposes. And then we can skip right down into the monster traits. We first have legendary resistances of 4 per day. And we will come over here and tap that in. So we have 4 uses of that, giving us an extra 120 hit points based off of just saving. And then we have the Metallic Awakening. Just like the Gem Awakening, the dragon will gain an extra 450 hit points, recharges its breath weapon, regains legendary resistances, and then gets, let's see here, this new Great Worm option in the Mythic Actions section for 1 hour. What is it? The Great Worm can now use the options. Oh, in the Mythic section. Wow, they own. Okay, that's whatever. Award a party an additional 120,000 XP for defeating the Great Worm after its Metallic Awakening phase. And then we have Unusual Nature that doesn't do anything. So moving into the actions here, we have the Great Worm can make 1 bite attack and 2 claws. The bite attack and claws both run off of a +18 to hit, which comes from a +8 bonus there and the +10 strength modifier. So the 18 is correct. And then let's see here. For the bite, we are dealing 21 points of piercing damage and 13 force damage. So I'm just going to go ahead and calculate those out right now to save on a bit of time. 21 plus 13. for a total of 34 on the bite. And then the claw is dealing, let's see here, 19 damage. Excuse me. And then it does a grapple, and it can only grapple one target. So, whoops, grab the wrong section. Because we're grappling one target with the claw, we can go over here and add in constrict for +1 effective AC, just like the gem dragons and just like the chromatic great worms. And then we have the multi-attack. So the multi-attack will be 1 bite plus 2 of the claw attacks. Right? Yeah, that was right. For a total of 72 for the multi-attack. We then also have a tail attack of 21 points of damage. And let's see here. If it's a creature, it has to succeed on a strength save or be knocked prone. Now, I'm not too worried about the prone because the prone can be removed really quickly. But if other monsters are fighting with this metallic dragon, they could, pounce on a prone target. But more than likely, the metallic dragon potentially won't get use out of the prone. It's hard to say whether or not they will. Oh, okay, 21 points of damage there. After that, for attack number 4, we have breath weapon, recharges on 5 or 6, and we have 2 types. We have elemental breath and sapping breath. We only really care about the elemental breath since it's doing a whole bunch of damage here. So we'll look at that, but we'll also quickly look at the sapping breath. So for the elemental breath, each creature must succeed on a 25 dex save or take 84 points of damage. And its type is determined by what kind of damage or what kind of dragon it is. So that doesn't really matter. We just want the 84 points of damage, which is actually 84.5 because we have an odd number of dice we're rolling. So 84.5 times 2 for 2 failed targets, or 2 failed saves coming from 2 targets, minimum. You don't ever want to use AoE spells on 1 target alone if you can help it. And then we're looking at 169 points of damage for the elemental breath. The sapping breath, on the other hand, what does that do? Failed save, creatures fall unconscious for 1 minute. On a successful save, the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the end of the Great Worm's next turn. Okay, that's cool, and I'd like to figure that out, but I'm going to work that out during my shorts videos and try and see what is going on for that dragon, or these dragons there. More than likely, I would suggest that it's probably unconscious. It's going to be similar to like a level 1 spell and only do a bit of effective DPR. And effective DPR is just from spells that don't do actual damage. Effective DPR term should be down in the description of the video too to help out, help that out there. And then also, there's also things for disadvantage and whatnot. So we'll skip over sapping breath because we just want to see raw power from this dragon. And on top of that, the dragon can change its shape, but it requires an action, which is funny that the metallic dragons could do this as an action, but the gem dragons could do it as a bonus action. Strange. Okay. Moving on, we'll go into the legendary actions here, and we have, let's see here, the Great Worm makes 1 claw or 1 tail attack. So it would be 19 or 21. I'm going to use what gives the most damage, and that will be the tail attack, plus the possibility of multiple prone creatures. And we'll do that 3 times, because there's 3 legendary actions, and it only costs 1 point to do so. So we'll get a total of 63 points of damage from 3 tail swipes. And then we have the wing attack, which usually isn't that great, but does let the dragon fly. So good if you need to escape. But otherwise, it's kind of meh. Also really good to use the wing attack to fly up if the spell or if the breath weapon has recharged. So you can go up and do a downward AoE attack, getting a whole bunch of creatures that way too. So then I would say 17 points of damage times 3. This costs us 2 actions, and then I would also add in 1 tail attack. So this legendary total comes out... Wait. Did I do that times 3? I did that. We're only supposed to do 2. Okay. So right off the bat, the wing attack isn't all that great. And that's why I suggested only using it when the dragon needs to escape or wants to get up to a higher vantage point to use the breath weapon more effectively. So before we get into the mythic actions, let's see where our dragon rates from raw power alone on, round 1 before we get to our metallic awakening here. So the very first thing you always want to do is use that breath weapon when you can. After that, we will then do our multi-attack of 3 tail attacks as needed, and we end up with 232 points of damage. Rounds 2 and 3 will be just a repeat of themselves of the multi-attack plus the tail attacks. And we end up with, let's see here, drum roll please, the CR28 Dragon. Now here's the thing. Our DCR is stopping at 30. Let's take a quick look at what the total DCR, or what the total effective AC is. We have 25. So we're expecting 19. 25 minus 19 is 6, so that would be plus 3. So that's correct. Okay, so we're right where we need to be. The DCR is proper at DCR 30. So it'll be 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So we do have ourselves a CR28 Dragon before it goes into Mythics. Now, let's take a look at what we can do for Mythic damage. And the Mythic, let's see here. Mythic actions for the Great Worm uses the same legendary action. So it's just a tack on for legendary actions. So we can do the Bite 3 times instead of the Tail attack, which is a lot more damage. Times 3, so that's 102 points of possible damage. And Shattering Roar. The Great Worm unleashes a magical roar. All creatures within that range make a con save or take 19.5 thunder damage and be incapacitated until the end of its next turn. Incapacitated isn't much. It's only really worth 10 effective damage because of spells like Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which is a level 1 spell. So what we'll do is we'll take layer action number 2 for the Mythic one, which costs us 2 actions. And we'll say, what is that, 19... okay. 19.5 plus 10 effective DPR for a level 1 spell. Multiply that by 2 for 2 targets. Plus, we could also do a bite attack. So, for the Shattering Roar, if we want to incapacitate people, that's excellent. But for raw power, we are a little better off. We're doing 9 more points of damage for 3 bite attacks. But I would probably recommend doing the Shattering Roar just to get those incapacitations in there. All right, and then let's see here. So what are we doing for hit points here? We're going into Mythic, and the Mythic requires us to have 450 hit points. So let's reduce our hit points till we get something close to 450. So we'll try 25. All right, that's still too high, so let's try 24, 23. Okay, that's close enough. We have 448 extra hit points, which is right about where we need. We end up getting all of our legendary resistances back. We get our breath weapon back, and we get all those mythic actions. So let's go ahead and do our first round of damage here. Well, we're going to use the breath weapon again, and then we're going to use all the bites. So we're looking at that for 271 average damage there, and then we'll come in with a multi-attack and simply doing the bites instead. And then we'll repeat that for round 3, and let's see what we get. All right, so we have a mythic dragon of CR27. I might say give it some more hit points, give it up to roughly what it had here of the 565 instead of the 450, but for whatever reason, you know, maybe we should do a little more. Let's say 26. There we go. If we get it 500 hit points rather than 450, we can then get it up to a CR28 as well. But I mean, it's not that bad. It's only a CR27 during mythic phase. If we average out the two, we'll end up with a CR28 regardless. But the CR27 is a little less, so I would say 500 hit points rather than 450. Nick, you're very welcome for the analysis on the Guard Drake. I just got done rewatching it. Oh, rewatching part of on the live stream there. I mean, yeah, I know people can step back, which is cool. So wild when you do that. You can do that and then jump ahead and whatnot. But yeah, the Guard Drake seems to be overrated. So there's a couple ways to fix it, which is cool. All right, so all of our metallic dragons before the mythic phase should be CR28, and then after the mythic phase, it looks like they drop down to a CR27. The quick fix for that would just be to give them 400 or 500 hit points rather than 450. Cool. Thanks, Nick. All right, so I'm going to take an update. Nope, not that. I want to go over here and take a note. Let me go back, track a little bit. Okay, so 30, 25, and 28. Okay. Okay. Metallic. Great worms. Should be 28, and I found 30, 25, 28. Even rated. Let's see here. Mythic, quick fix, 500 hit points instead of 450 to make it a CR 28. Okay, there we go. All right, it is a little after 11 o'clock, and this is usually where I like to cut off the live stream. I only usually go for about an hour because it's rather late, and I got to get up early in the morning to do my workouts and whatnot, and help out with a few other things. So, that's the end of the live stream. Thanks for all the new people showing up. Nick Earl, Keith Picotte, or Picotte. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Black Hole of Knowledge. Who else showed up? Clorox. I know you've been around for a while. You've been in the Discord. Thanks for showing up to the Discord or the live stream tonight. Crow Zero, and as always, the ever faithful Clawpaw, being at pretty much every live stream, even if he's passed out at his computer. Thank you all for joining and watching the live stream. You've all been awesome. And this is me, Andrew, asking, are your encounters even rated? Ah, yes, Clawpaw was very cozy. Thanks for doing this again. Black Hole Knowledge. Let's see here. All right, nice. Thanks for all this very effort. Very cool channel concept, and best of luck. Let's see how long it takes me to catch up. The short shouldn't take too long. I do have the playlist, so there's always that. Clawpaw, oh my. And Clorox, fantastic stream as always. Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. It's been a pleasure having you all here chatting and watching along as I work through all this silly nonsense and balancing and working on the CRs. All right, everyone. Have a good night, and I will see you hopefully on the Discord and in the comments section. Good night.